product team is busy, but nothing moves forward, your problem is not execution, it's clarity. And this is where most leaders get it wrong. Most product teams don't struggle because they are slow. They struggle because they have unclear priorities. If you look at your team and it's super busy, meetings are constant, tickets are flying across the board, the roadmap is full, but once you step back, you realize nothing meaningful has actually seen. Here is the problem that so many of us get wrong. We are so quick in blaming execution, in trying to find ways to make our team move faster. But what if the problem is not the speed of the car, but the fact that the driver doesn't have a map? The real issue almost always is the lack of clarity. So the question is not how to make teams move faster, it's how you remove the confusion that makes them keep stuck. So this completely reframes your role. Your primary role is not to be some manager cracking the whip. No, it's to be a confusion remover. So how can you become a confusion remover? It all comes down to master 4 essential skills. First things first, and this is a big one. This is the foundation for everything else. So the first reason that teams stay busy but not move forward, as we explained, is the missing clarity. So you have to be the creator of clarity. And what do I mean by creator of clarity? It's all about being clear what matters now, what doesn't, and most importantly, why. And you have to understand this about human behavior. Good teams, they don't just stop working when they are confused. They're motivated, so they fill in the blank themselves. They make assumptions on the vague instructions that they were given so they can keep moving. The problem is that everyone starts moving in a slightly different direction, and this is exactly why all that productive energy descends into chaos. So I have seen this exact scenario play out. High leadership announced a new top priority. 4 different teams get assigned to it, and everyone was working incredibly hard. On the surface, it looked like we are totally aligned, but nothing significant shipped for 2 whole months. And why? Because each of these 4 teams has a slightly different idea of what this top priority meant. It was never a speed problem, it was a clarity problem. Okay, let's move to our second skill. The second reason moves stay busy but they don't move forward is hidden trade-offs. Because when everything is important and everything is urgent, nothing really moves. So what do you need to do? You have to own the trade-offs. And this is not about trying to soften difficult choices. It's about making them super explicit for everyone to see. In every complex company, everything sounds important, right? Every department, every team has some critical request. And if you try to keep everybody happy, you're creating these hidden conflicts where your team gets pulled in a million different directions. Real strategy is not defined by what you say yes to. Real strategy is defined by what you say no to and why. If you're struggling and saying no at work without sounding difficult and risking damaging relations with stakeholders, then I definitely recommend you to see this video right here. It will be a game changer. So let me make it clear with an example. I had once this situation that we had to choose between improving our new user onboarding or shipping a massive feature for a big enterprise client. Both projects had powerful sponsors, and both were labeled critical. Based on team's capacity, we could only work on one of those 2. But how do you choose? The decision didn't come from more meetings or more analysis. It came when we made the underlying trade-off visible. See, we were not choosing between 2 features. We were choosing between long-term activation versus short-term revenue. As soon as we frame it like that, the right decision became obvious, not emotional. So let's go to the third role. This is a huge mindset shift. So the third reason that teams get stuck is decision bottlenecks. What do I mean by that? If everything flows through you, then progress slows down. Your job is not to be there to make every decision. Your job is to design how the decisions get made. So to be, as I call, the decision system designer. Think about it. If every single question or choice has to flow through you, you haven't empowered your team. you have crippled them. So you become the single point of failure. You become the bottleneck. The team slows down, waiting for you, and escalating every little thing becomes the default. So you get pulled in all these small decisions instead of focusing on the big picture. And with this mindset in one team, I managed to reduce the escalations to leadership by 30%. And you know how I did it? Not by adding new process, not by buying some new tool. I just got really clear on which decisions the team can make on their own and which ones truly needed alignment with me. That's it. This is all about providing clarity and not maintaining control. If you're a new manager and you are struggling in letting go of control, you need to see this video where you can learn more what you can do to overcome this and how much impactful will be in your team's success. And that brings us to our fourth and final skill. When teams stay busy but keep being misaligned, it means that context is missing. Your job is not just to distribute a list of tasks, it's making sure that everyone understands the context. So, what do I even mean by the word context? It is basically answering these three questions. Why does this project actually matter to the business? What has changed in the market that makes it so important right now? And what does success truly looks like when we're done? The answers to these questions connect the day-to-day work to the bigger mission. Because when that context is missing, what teams do? They naturally optimize what they can't see, their own little part of the world. So the team might polish the feature to actual perfection, not knowing that speed to market is actually the most critical factor now. And this misalignment just grows quietly in the background until it becomes a massive problem. So when leaders realize the misalignment, the lack of progress, what they try to do? They try to fix it by scheduling more status meetings, they roll more tracking dashboards, and they add more layers of coordination. They try to solve the problem with process, but that doesn't solve the underlying problem. It just increases the noise. It adds to that feeling of being busy without really unblocking progress. So it actually makes things worse. Okay, so we covered the four skills you need to work on so to help your team move forward instead of just being busy. And that is being a clarity creator, being a trade-off owner, being a decision system designer, and being a context distributor. I know that sounds like a lot. So what is the practical first step you can take today if your team feels super busy but totally stuck? Start right here. At the end of each week, ask yourself these four questions. Think of it as your own personal clarity check. Where is my team having to guess because I haven't been clear? What decisions are still floating around and are implicit, not explicit? What are we avoiding saying no to? And be honest, where am I the bottleneck that is slowing things down? Here is the key. Don't try to fix it all at once. Just try to fix one thing. Take one of those gaps that you found during your weekly check-in and fix one thing. Then, next week, do it again. These small, consistent actions, that is how clarity compounds over time, as everything in life. It's how you transform your team from one that just manages motion to one that makes real, tangible progress. And remember, product leadership is not about pushing for faster execution. It's about relentlessly and systematically removing the confusion that blocks it. Because when you get that right, when clarity is finally present, you don't need to push for progress anymore. Progress becomes inevitable. Thank you for listening to me today. I'm Stella Raki from Count Product Leader, and see you next time. Bye!